Yeah, so again, not asking for a lot, and what I'm asking for, I am more than deserving of for all the work I've put in, and this spiritual rank, as people are saying, which is all news to me, honestly. So it's really like mind-blowing that, like, all these people are saying you have no idea what you've attained in the spirit world, the rank that you have, the sway that you have, the power that you have, what's being unlocked for me. It's like, what? What? I've just been trying to get by, trying to fulfill my mission, and it just so happens my mission is to support, to catalyze the transformation, the evolution, the evolutionary leap of our society to collective consciousness. So, when you mention it that way, it is kind of one of the biggest jobs there's ever been on the planet, and I do get to own that and say that, just acknowledge, like, shit, I personally have been entrusted with that information. Like, whatever you want to believe in, God or whatever, like, I've been granted with that. I'm bringing it in. I'm sharing it with you now. You can open yourself up to the brilliance of what God is providing for us as soon as you're ready. The links are attached. Check the description, because it's here. I've already thought through the blueprints. Now it's just a matter of describing more details. But I'm just the starting point for the conversation that all of society gets to jump into in an open source way, an open conversation about all of these topics and considerations, so that we can very quickly know what our best practices is in the world for everything, and push the limits of it every day with data analytics about everything, because we've systematized everything and we've digitized everything, and now we can measure everything and compare everything and know everything there is to know. And it's just as straightforward and simple as that, as what I'm saying. Just that concept of what I just described says it all already. Now it's just a matter of the mechanisms, and frankly, we have the mechanisms, and ask any person in AI or whatever what the mechanisms can be, and you can have plenty of answers right away, and we will, and that's the thing. The whole world is about to jump into this conversation, and it's just as soon as any particular person realizes that they want to be a part of this conversation, and you obviously are at least pondering it, if not already get it, that like, oh yeah, I would like to be in the conversation of how is collective consciousness about to quickly transform every aspect of our lives and the ways that we interact with each other and our physical world and stuff and thoughts and values and everything that there is that you interact with in the 3D world and in your mind is about to be adjusted and shifted and changed into a collective experience where you're not the only one showing up to have a thought. You're showing up amongst the entire collective and being a part of a living, breathing, collective thinking process. Okay, that's it. Again, I'm saying it all already. This is all you need to know to get where we're headed, and the fact that we've already got mechanisms, and we will evolve mechanisms as quickly as we are able to. So just like when it was declared that we would go to the moon by John F. Kennedy in 1961 or whenever it was that he said that, and we didn't have the technology yet, but we knew that with concentrated, focused effort and resources, we could innovate in the areas that we needed to quickly enough to be able to achieve person on the moon before the end of the decade, as was successfully accomplished. So I similarly am declaring that within 5 years from January 1st, 2025, we are going to start on January 1st, 2025. Let me allow you to enjoy the ocean as I have been. I will watch the sunset. On January 1st, 2025, we will start the clock. We've got a few months to prepare ourselves that we're about to run this race from January 1st, 2025 to January 1st, 2030. We will collectively, those of us that choose, and it will, I believe, grow in collective agreement sufficiently to be able to achieve the objective that by January 1st, 2025, we have transitioned from a net destruction of our planet, toxification of our planet in so many different ways, through forever chemicals, through plastics, through carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, methane in the atmosphere, all these different ways that we are degrading the living environment for ourselves and for all life on this planet. By January 1st, 2030, we will have reversed that trend, and we will be in a net healing, regenerative cycle where we'll only get more and more regenerative and more healing from there, to the point that eventually, decades from now, when we have the technology, maybe it won't have to be decades with the fast evolution we're about to be on, that we will figure out how to clean up all the forever chemicals and out of our water and our air and everything. I don't know how we're going to do that, but we'll figure it out. In the meantime, we're going to be able to leverage the power of the collective, primarily using dollars, currency, to put our collective finances behind the world that allows us to sustain life, which means to stop toxifying ourselves. It's no different than taking a syringe and injecting toxins into your veins every single day. Could you imagine if people stormed in your house and grabbed you and strapped you down to, a table and then injected forever chemicals and nanoplastics and all of that into your blood each day? Well, you eating it and breathing it is no different. So there you go. You are being assaulted at the deepest level, as is every living being on the planet right now, being assaulted by the toxification of our environment that we, me, you, are paying companies to do to us right now. So as soon as we are within a system that gives us enough discernment to be able to make choices between a company that's toxifying our environment and a company that isn't, then the collective, because it's built around self-preservation of the collective, will absolutely choose the one that's not toxifying. And because the collective will grow in such, to be the entire collective eventually, that there will not be any evolutionary path any further for toxifying the environment. Any entity, any business, any industry, anything that wants to survive into the future will sooner rather than later stop toxifying and start cleaning, because those are going to be the winners in our society. And it's as simple as that. Again, now we build the mechanisms, and I've already created a foundational place for collective commerce that starts getting us there right away. And we can start evolving that as we're going to evolve everything, and everyone's going to evolve everything. But we've got all we need right now is the starter kit to start creating our collective consciousness around everything. And that's the bottom line. And if you have, and really it's a matter right now of me just getting all of the details that are already in my head out of my head, all these years of thinking about this and researching. And now what I know a lot of people talk about is, wandering through the Akashic realms, chopping my way through thought paths that haven't been traveled down in a long time, and doing that over and over, day after day, night after night, year after year, for over 10 years that I've been doing that now. Pretty much full time for the last 10 years, 8+ years, and beyond that. And so in bringing all of this back, Now it's a matter of me getting everything that I've thought about out of my head and into the world, just in recordings, doing it like this, and also talking with people, and people asking me questions and asking me all the questions, and then we build the thought map of everything that I can share about what I know about creating collective thoughts, create collective actions, and engaging in collective commerce as the foundations. There's other collective systems that I thought of, like around information and other systems that we'll also be implementing. So this is it. And this is where, I'm just at the beginning of verbalizing this. So if it made sense to you, then we're getting there. And the communication will only get better and better as I get better at communicating it, as others start to help distill it down, as we have the AI helping us sort it all out. This is all the process that's about to happen with all of this. So really, having all the raw materials that I'm already just like laying out, in these documents and videos and everything that I've already produced, along with what I'm about to in conversation with you and others, is what gives us more and more of the foundation and the framework within which to start the conversation again. Everything I share is just the beginning of the conversation for everyone that wants to be a part of that particular conversation about that particular thought or solution to chime in. And I have no designs or even necessarily desires on having the ultimate answer. I only want to have the first answer at this moment to give people a starting point to jump off from and start building from there. And in that way, the whole world gets to create this far beyond what I can conceptualize, but I've conceptualized enough to get us started. So that's where we're at. And I honor you and appreciate you for taking the time to listen to this and absorb it. And I appreciate the journey that we're sharing and the world that we're starting already, just in me looking at you and you looking at me, and us plugging into a system where we can start to synergize our energies together with everyone else. That's all we've got to do to begin with. And together we have all the resources we need amongst us. As soon as we start organizing them all, which we are about to start doing, or we're starting to do now. And in doing that, we're on our way. We're just going to get better and better really, really quickly with the systems I've laid out and the ones that you and others are about to start, getting down or are getting down based on where we're at in our evolution when you're watching this. But in this moment, we're at a very early stage, which is off the wall, because you get to be as big a part of this explosion into the world as you can see for yourself, because we are signing up everyone for every position right now, and it's all a meritocracy based on people just declaring, what role you want to play in all of this. And in you declaring that, if you're talking about like open ground, which it is at this moment, open ground for everything, you're the first one declaring that role, then you're just going to do it. And you're just going to show us what it looks like. And you're going to show us what it looks like to perform in that role. And as long as you're the only one doing it, you've got the job. And then when others start to show up and say, hey, I'd like to do that, I think I can be good at that, let me do that too, then as many people start doing that, it creates a marketplace where now there's measurements and comparisons between the different options. Who did different things the fastest, who did different things the cheapest, who did different things with the highest quality, whatever the measurements are, and those are some of the key measurements that we want to compare what our options are. Now you just fall wherever you fall in the marketplace based on the comparative data that you're providing for that role. And at any point, as you want to shift to any other role, you get to. And then you start to create data about how you're performing in that role. And then that data just becomes choices in the system that people tune into to decide which is the choice that they want. So now, again, I'm giving you some a deeper dive into the collective commerce, but just to show you how simplistic the concepts are, how basic the concepts are, and then it's really just a matter of implementation. And for what I just described, I've already essentially built the system for that as a functional prototype. And believe me, any competent, technologist can program what I just described very quickly, and that's what's about to happen. Is the technology, the programming is not the challenge at all. It's just really figuring out, that we should systematize systematization, and here's how we do it. And now that I've done that, someone else is going to do it better, but we've got it. We've got some sort of level of understanding that systematization of systematization is that should be existing all the time. Anything that can be systematized, there should be a system that allows for the systematization of that, which the collective system does already by the way that I'm describing it. And therefore we can have one back end for all of the systems, which means that we have a collective global brain that knows everything, and we all have access to all knowledge about everything. Ta-da! Why wouldn't we have that when we can? And we can have it as simple as the ways I'm describing it. We are having it now. The very first beginnings of the collective global brain are starting to be populated right now. And how long is it going to take for somebody to hear this, for a lot of people to hear this? And this is where we want to start preparing as quickly as we can to just have the infrastructure in place, which is to have landing spots for all this. So for the coding, for example, my belief at the moment, until somebody presents a better idea, and this is the beginning of the conversation now, I believe that the university systems of the United States and soon the world, but to start with the United States to kind of make it more digestible for me, at least, if not others, is to just have the universities themselves all look at what the challenges that we're facing, the opportunity. We're building a system that essentially is going to be an operating system that's going to allow for the systematization of systemizations, and we need all of the functionality built in that allows everything to talk to each other, and for everyone to be an app developer and to be able to speak apps into existence by just saying, hey, I want to collect this field and this field and this field, and then I want to do this with that and cross-reference this with that and multiply this by that, and if people are part of this group, then this, and if they're part of this group, then this, and just describe in words the way that you want your system to work, and then have the system actually using AI translate your words into the programming that needs to happen. And there's systems already doing this, and we're just adopting best practice systems that are going to be doing that even better and better. And those systems are going to allow you to be an app developer, and we're all app developers, and all of the data that you want is almost all of it is already being collected by other people somewhere, and you're just licensing the use of that data, which is going to pay them, and you're going to be able to monetize it the way that you want to. And it's just, again, I've figured out, what I see as starting points for solutions for all of this, and then, now the conversation begins and we figure out the best ways. But there's at least one way. And that's the thing about where I come from, as I've been sorting all of this out, channeling it through, is I just believe that there's always a possible way. There's actually an infinite number of ways to accomplish everything. And when I think about the fact that there's an infinite number of ways to accomplish everything, then I just need to find one or a category, or just it's not hard to find a way when you know that there's an infinite number of ways, right? Okay, what would it be like? Where am I going to go with this? So as I've already done that, and as now we'll all start doing that and having systems that support us in innovating. That's a whole nother aspect of the system I'm not going to get into now, but totally changing intellectual property, the way that it's managed, so that you speak into existence every great idea you have as soon as you have it. it is an important concept to get. And another, like, so you get how, like, this, how much our society is about to change on its head, because right now, you know, our patent system locks up patents so that, you know, other people can't use those patents, can't use those innovations. And that is totally antithetical to having the most advanced and most evolved civilization that you would want to have. The most evolved civilization you would want to have would require innovations to be spoken into existence and made available to everyone instantly, immediately, because then we can all be riding the leading edge of innovation at any time, and any one of us can tune in to the leading edge of innovation around any thoughts, around anything, all of the time, and build from there. Our whole energy of creation is all being channeled into the tip of the spear of innovation. Okay, now think about that compared to our current society, where every single innovation is locked away in a separate locker from every other innovation, and none of us have access to any of these innovations because none of us have the patents on any of them. Think of how absurd what I just described is in terms of our patent system, compared to the idea that every single one of us are riding a wave of the forward edge of innovation in our minds and in our three-dimensional realities in every second. Okay, I think with that you understand the night and day difference between the world that we've been living in and the world that we are entering into together now. So, welcome to your new frickin' world.